Now we all know Rigby, Lee Rigby. A British Army soldier was off duty when he was run over by a car and hacked to death by two men with knives and a cleaver. The killings created a rise in anti-Islam sentiment across the UK, and news agencies were criticised for showing video footage of the murder. The assailants were identified as Michael Adibolajo and Michael Adibowala, who intended to avenge the killing of Muslims by the British Armed Forces. They were sentenced to life imprisonment. This was a lad, a father, I believe, who was just walking back to the barracks. Walking back to his barracks. This one some of you may not have heard of. This is a killing by Valdo Kalakain. Grace O'Malley Kumar and Barnaby Webber, both friends, both 19 years of age, just walking down the road. When Valdo Kalakain attacked Barnaby Webber. So his friend went in to help him. Grace went in to help her friend Barnaby. Kalakain then turned, after stabbing Barnaby, turned his vengeance onto Grace and stabbed her. Left him for dead. He then, after several other little incidents, come across this guy, Lee Coates. He was a caretaker, a school caretaker. He was on his way to work. So you know what time it is? It's about 5 o'clock in the morning, right? He's travelling to work, 5:30. He kills him, stops his car, stabs him, leaves him for dead on the side of the road, takes his car, and then goes to try and attempt to run down 3 other people. This Kalakain had psychotic tendencies. He should have been on medication, but he would never take his medication. He's now in a prison, a hospital prison, where we know what that's like. So, softly, right? We'll see. But he's in there until further notice. He should never be released. These 3 people did not have to die that night. There have been instances before, weeks before, days before, of this guy. He should not have been out on the streets. There was failings, again, by police. This case not many people would have heard about, because this happened up in Edinburgh, Scotland. A teenager who murdered a man with a hunting knife while on bail for slashing has been given life sentence with a minimum term of 17 years. The 17-year-old chased and killed 22-year-old John McNabb. That's why he's been given such a low sentence as well, because of his age. In an unprovoked attack on Great Junction Street in Leith on 2nd of September last year, the fatal stabbing came 4 months after the youth was released on bail, having been charged with a knife attack on a 16-year-old boy at Portobello Beach. There's another failing by police and by the judicial system. This did not have to happen. This should not have happened. Rhiannon White had just finished her shift at the Park-Inn Hotel at 2300 BST on the 20th of October 2024. Was on the phone to a friend as she walked to the train station. She was on the platform when Majek launched his attack, stabbing her 19 times in the head with 11 injuries to her skull and one so deep it pierced her brainstem. She died in hospital 3 days later. No motive has ever been established for her attack. Majek had only arrived in the UK about 3 months before the attack and had made claim for legal asylum. Oh my God, this is the people we are importing into our country. It says Deng Majek stabbed Rhiannon White 23 times with a screwdriver in a frenzied 90 second, that's a minute and a half, attack in 2024. Following the 27-year-old to Bescott Stadium train station in Warsaw. He was later caught on CCTV dancing and laughing. This has to stop. She was a mother. Now that child is going to grow up without his mother. These people should not be in hotels. They shouldn't be in our country. Sorry, not sorry. Now this one, probably quite a few people know about this case. Charlie Cossa. He was 17 from Milford, Surrey. He was stabbed 3 times in the chest in a marquee at a party attended by more than 100 people in Warnham, West Sussex. The perpetrator, Variabus, turned up with another friend of his. And during the evening, there'd been a bit of complaints about them. So they went up to him the first time and asked him to leave, but they didn't. Anyway, the complaints still kept coming. So they finally went back up to him and said, look, you've got to leave. Right? Well, this lad didn't like that. Neither did the other lad. So they both started fighting this Charlie and his friends. While everyone was focused on this other fight with Charlie's friend by dragging the guy off him, they forgot about Charlie being attacked by this other guy. By very Bruce. And he got stabbed and left to die. Finally, when people realised what had happened, they got help. Right? But by then, the lad, the perpetrator, had gone. He got a friend of his, a girl, to phone her mother to ask her to pick her up. So they did. They took him to their house, burnt his clothes. So there's no evidence of any blood. Nothing. And on the way to the hospital, the ambulance had to stop and open his chest up on the side of the road to get him breathing again. They've got him breathing, they've got him back in the ambulance and off to the hospital. He was in the hospital for something like 3 days, and his father was on TikTok daily, pouring his heart out. Right? And this lad does get arrested. He's found at Toby Inn, I believe, having a meal with his family. Anyway, so he is found guilty and he's told to do, I believe it was 17 years? Like 17 years for his murder of this young lad, Henry Charlie Cossa. This lad had everything, another young lad taken, who had everything going for him in his life. His mum and dad let him go to this party because A, he's 17, and B, he wasn't going into the town centre. And I felt, oh, it's a house party, he'll be safe there. But again, another life taken by knife crime. Henry Nowak, another senseless murder, was fatally stabbed in Southampton in December of 2025 by Vikram Digwa, who falsely claimed he had been racially abused and had acted in self-defence. Well, since then, he's been to court, he's been tried, he's been found guilty. And he's got to do life sentence with minimum of 21 years before even thinking of parole. However, since then, there's been the police body cam footage has been released, the phone call that Digwa brothers made to the police about the incident, all of it lies. And then we see the body cam footage where the police believe Digwa about him being racially assaulted and not believing a word that Henry Nowak was saying, how he's telling him he'd been stabbed, he couldn't breathe. So many failings in this case, it is unbelievable. And this has been going on for years. This has just been covered up time and time and time again, I believe. Henry Nowak was just 18 years old. He was in uni. He was going places. Again, another young lad who had his whole life in front of him who's going places. And this Digwa, walking around the streets with what they call religious knives on him, because he's Sikh, used this really long blade on him. And even after Henry tried to get away, he chased him down like an animal and took his phone off him beforehand, and then was still filming him before the police come. Before his father and his mother come, he was filming him on the floor. When they made the police phone call to the police, it was asked, is there any weapons involved? No. They lied all the way through that phone call. So this case is the one that has set everything off again. We had another case, which I haven't spoke about on here. Only 2 years ago, with 3 young girls who were stabbed and several others injured by another piece of scum who's now in prison doing life. But that's one I'll touch on another time. Thank you all for watching. If you've liked what you've seen and heard, please hit that like button and consider subscribing and leave me a comment. All those 3 helps with the analytics and it pushes the video out more. So until the next one, stay safe.